Hi guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of Python OpenPyXl automation and analysis series. So this particular session will help you to understand workbook and worksheet functionality. So you can see here, we will be discuss, let's say what kind of workbook file modes available in the OpenPyXl, how we can retrieving the content from a specific worksheet, how we can create a worksheet using OpenPyXl at any specific location, how we can save and close, how we can iterating and rename worksheet, how we can move, copy, delete, and how we can activate the worksheet by index. And we will be explore some example as well. All right. So I hope you are clear with agenda. So let's go to the Jupyter notebook. So guys, first of all, I'm going to importing this library, let's say OpenPyXl as Excel, right? So I will recommend to watch the very first session as well, okay? So where we have discussed what is the OpenPyXl, what is the capabilities of OpenPyXl and all. So right now I have a file name that is called superstore.xls, right? So guys, while we are loading the workbook using OpenPyXl, so we have two options. So the very first option is, let me write here, we have a reading the file in read-only mode. Okay, read only, right? So simple read underscore only. And similarly, we have another mode for an example. If you want to ignore formulas, right? While loading the workbook, right? So while loading a workbook, okay? So we need to write here data only, okay? So in case you don't want to change anything in your file, so simple, you can go with the read only. And in case, let's say you have, the data and you want to read only the data, so simple, you can read the data only. So in this particular mode, you can change as well in case you want to change anything in your worksheet, all right? So OpenPyXl does not support .xl extension. Okay, so let me write here. I am writing as a note. This will help you. Okay, so OpenPyXl does not support .xls extension files or CSV files. This thing you need to keep in mind. All right. So now, first of all, let's say I am going to import this particular file. So simple excel dot load workbook, and here I am going to define the file name. Simple. All right. So right now, let's say, can you see here? By default, the read only equal to false. Okay. So let's check how much time this particular cell will take. Okay. So I am going to add the magic method here. And now let me run this. So guys, we are getting an error. So can you see here? OpenPyXl does not support old .xls file format. Okay, so please use XLRD to read this file. Or maybe you can convert this particular file into the more recent format that is called .xlsx file format. Okay, so let me go this data and let me open this and convert into the .xlsx. Simple. All right, guys. So I have converted, right? So you can see here, this is the older version and this is the newer version. So here, what I need to do is, here I have to change X. Simple. All right. So you can see here, this particular process is taking, longer time. Okay, around 5.3 seconds. So guys, sometime you will need to open very large Excel files. Okay. So the common routines in OpenPyXl will not be able to handle, or maybe you can say that load that file. So fortunately, there are two modes that enables you to read and write unlimited amounts of the data with near constant memory consumption. So for an example, I'm reading this particular file once again with the help of some different mode. So load workbook, and here the file path or file name, or directly you can define here superstore.xlsx. And here I'm using read only equal to true. So you can see here, this is taking approximately 312 milliseconds, right? Now, what I'm doing here, in case, let's say you want to print the worksheet name. Okay, so simple. What can I do here? I can write here superstore, okay, and dot sheet name. So these are the sheets available in this particular workbook. Okay, so if you want to see, let's say, what kind of functions we have in this variable, let's say superstore. Okay, so what can I do? So simple, let's say print I for I in dir of superstore. Okay, so superstore is a variable of workbook type. I want to display all the functions related to the workbook. So these are the functions. Let me ignore this. So these are the functions related to the workbook. All right, guys. So in case you want to define the loop as well, so you can define the loop as well. Superstore, and here I am going to print seed dot title. Simple. Okay. And sometime just like a VB programming, we are going to set an object. So how we can set an object in OpenPyXl? Okay. So how we can do that? Let's say I am taking a variable orders equal to superstore, and the long bracket I am going to define that sheet name. Okay. So you can see here if you will check what is the type of orders. So guys, this is the worksheet in the mode of read only. All right, interesting. So in case you want to do anything based on the orders spreadsheet, so you will be access this particular variable. Okay, pretty fine. And additionally, there is also the worksheet.cell method. This provide access to cell using a row and column. What I'm trying to say, so we have a function that is called worksheet. Worksheet means orders. So let me tell you, let's say I'm going to print the doc string of that particular function. I was saying about the cell properties. Okay. So here, in case you want to access any particular cell, so simple, you need to define here, 15 and 1. Okay. Or maybe you want to assign the value, then you can, assign the value as well. I'll give you the example. Orders dot cell. This is the row. Okay. On the row number 4, and the column number is 7. Okay. I want to access, let's say, what is the value. So guys, this is the value. Easy. Okay, and one more thing. So we have a function that is called, as I just used above, let's say values only. So this is the value. So for an example, if you just want to, read the value from the worksheet, so you can use worksheet.value properties. Okay. So this will iterate over all the rows in the worksheet and return cell value one by one. Let me tell you. So what I'm doing here, I am going to define a loop, right? That loop will be start from the orders dot values, whatever the values we have or whatever the cell property we have in the orders. Okay. And now I am doing j equal to j plus 1. Now for value in row. So first of all, I am accessing each row, and from that row, I am accessing a value one by one. Let me print the value and with blank, or you can say that blank space. Apart from that, let's say I want to, give, some identification. When I will be print entire row, then I will be print this particular, method and some space as well. And I don't want to print entire data set. So I am saying when the j equal to 5, then I don't want to continue this process. Okay. So you can see here. So first of all, guys, I am reading the very first row, and very first row is nothing is a header. Then I am reading the data one by one. Only, top 4 rows I am reading from the data. So guys, I hope you understood this logic. Okay, this is very easy and neat and clean. Okay, now let me tell you how we can insert the sheet. Okay, so we are going to discuss inserting a sheet. So using a create sheet function, we can insert the sheet on a specified position. So let's say I am taking an object equal to ws1 superstore, and as I told you, we have a function that called create sheet. And here I am going to define, let's say, employee DV. So what do you mean by this? So guys, this particular sheet insert, okay, this sheet will be insert at the end of the workbook. by default. So for an example, I have a seat 1, seat 2, and seat 3. So at the seat 4, this sheet will be added by this name. Easy. But look at this. Right now, can I insert the sheet? Answer is no, you can't insert the sheet because I have launched this particular superstore in a read-only mode. So I can't, I can't change anything. So let's try. So you can see here, read-only workbook execution. So we can't create a new sheet in the read-only workbook. So what I need to do is, again, let's say superstore equal to excel.load workbook, and here the file name and data only equal to true. And now ws1, and here I can, superstore dot create sheet. Let's say again, employee DB. Okay. So here I am not defining any index. You can see here, index is none. Okay. Unless you modify its value, and you will always get the first worksheet by using this method. Okay, let me tell you. So let me run this. If you want to see the title, right, you can see the title. Okay. And now what I'm doing here, superstore dot sheet names. Look at this. All right. So in case, let's say you don't have any worksheet in your workbook. So this will be a very first worksheet. But right now in the superstore, I have already presented these 3 worksheets. So this will be my 4th worksheet, and it will be added at the end of the worksheet. Okay. So this thing you need to keep in mind. All right. And now what I'm doing here, let's say adding a worksheet based on an index. Okay. So look at this, ws2, and here superstore dot create sheet, seat 1, like this. And here I am passing the index 1, ws2 dot title, simple. And again, ws3 equal to superstore and create sheet. And here I am using, let's say, sheet 2. And here I am passing an index -1. Okay, try to understand what I'm doing here. Clear? And now I am going to print those seat. So superstore dot seat names. Okay, easy. So when I'm passing here first index, right? So this is the 0th index, and this will be a 1 index. And here when I'm writing here -1. So guys, what do you mean by this? So it means this will be insert before the last. Okay, let me tell you once again. I am going to, save this particular file as a save with the, right file name. Done. Now I am going to create another workbook. Let's say excel.workbook. Okay, guys, workbook. I'm creating a brand new workbook. So source.excelSX. Simple. Now here, let's say test1 equal to wkb.create sheet. So when I'm writing here the test1, so what do you mean by this? So let me write here for your reference. So insert at the end by default. So right now I don't have any worksheet here. So this will be your very first worksheet. Similarly, let's say test2, and here w.create sheet, and here I'm using test2 by 0. What do you mean by this? So it will be insert at the first position. Got it? And here test3, wkb.create sheet, and if I am writing here test3, comma -1, insert before the last one. What is the last one? This is the last one, right? Test1. And now let me run this. And here wkb dot sheet names. Okay. So first of all, I have created the test1. On the 0th index, let's say I have created the test2. On the -1, I have created the test3. Insert before the last one. Clear? Now guys, what I'm doing here, let me tell you how we can renaming the worksheet. Okay. So let me create a one more worksheet here. Let's say wkb.createsheet. And here I am writing, let's say programming. All right. And then I am going to save this particular file as the same source.xlsx and then wkb.close. Simple. Now what I am doing here, I want to rename the worksheet. Okay. So let me load the file again, excel.load workbook. And the file name is a source.xlsx. And here data only equal to true. Now, if I want to print fl.sheet name, so you can see here. All right. Now I want to rename this worksheet. So let's say for SST in fl.sheet names. Okay. So now I am going to renaming the worksheet based on some certain rules. So if SST dot starts with, let's say by T, then what I want FL, that sheet name means title equal to, let's say I want SST plus string of I. Now let me, create here I equal to 1. Okay. Because we can't create the duplicate record. Okay. So your sheet name should be unique. So I equal to I plus 1. So let's say test 2, test 1, and test 3. I am going to rename it by seat 1, seat 2, and seat 3. Okay. And this programming will not change anymore. Now what I'm doing here, fl.save by different name updated test.xlsx. Easy. Then I'm going to closing this particular object. Done. Let me open the updated. So guys, you can see it. All right. Now this is the program. Okay. And this source will keep the same thing, right? Test 1, test 2, test 3. Because I haven't changed this file. Same thing. Okay. Now, so we have seen, how we can reiterate, how we can, read the data, how we can rename the worksheet, how we can create the worksheet. Now, we are going to discuss, let's say, delete the specific worksheet. Okay. How we can delete the specific worksheet. Let's say FL, again, I am going to loading the workbook, and that is updated.testxlx and data only equal to true. And here fl.sheet names. Simple. Let's say I want to delete FL and the sheet 1 I want to delete. So that's how you can delete this spreadsheet. Easy. And now I am going to save this particular workbook, updated test.xlsx, and now I am showing the sheet names. So you can see here the sheet 1 has gone. All right. Now one more thing, guys. How you can get an index of a worksheet. So for an example, if you have multiple worksheet in your workbook, how you can find out the specific index. So fl.sheet names, and here I am getting an index of programming. So what will be the index of programming? 0, 1, and 2. Now, next part is how to move the worksheet. Okay, so how we can move the worksheet? So simple, let's say FL and here the move sheet, and the sheet name equal to programming. And here I'm using offset equal to 1. Okay, so what do you mean by this? This spreadsheet, guys, I want to move here, okay, to the left side. And now let me run this FL and the save, and I'm not changing in this particular file. I'm going to save a brand new file. Let's say output.xlsx. Now fl.sheet names. So it is not moved. Okay, we can do one thing. So right now, let's say it is not moved. So what can I do? Let me check in the output.xlx because I have changed here. Let me try once again. Here, if I'm using, let's say, -1, and then let me change it. Save. Okay. When I'm passing the -1, so it's moved, right? So this thing you need to keep in mind. All right. And similarly, in case you will supply -2, so it will be here. Okay. You can pass any index and you can play around with this. Similarly, if now I am jumping for how we can copy the worksheet. So guys, these particular operation will help you a lot because we are dealing lots of Excel on daily basis. So this thing you need to keep in mind. And now let me tell you how we can copy the worksheet. Okay. So let's say fl dot copy worksheet. And here I want to copy, let's say fl. The sheet name is programming. Now let me run this. So you can see here worksheet, programming, copy. And now fl dot save output dot xlsx. Easy. And now when I'm going to open the output and we'll see. So you can see here that particular workbook has been copied successfully. So that's how you can copy the worksheet as well. Okay. So guys, similarly, what if I want to move the worksheet into a different workbook? So let me load the data once again. Workbook 1, excel.load workbook, and I'm reading this file. And again, wkb2.excel.load workbook, and I'm reading, let's say, updated Excel for an example. What I'm doing here, wkb2.sheet names. So these are the sheet names I have. wkb2 dot create the sheet. Let's say, let me create the sheet with the help of Java for an example. And wkb2 dot save by dot xlsx. Simple. And here wkb2 dot sheet names. All right. I am going to set the object ws equal to wkb2, and I am going to set the object of Java spreadsheet. Simple. And you can see here, I have read this WKB1, right? I'm going to show you what kind of sheet I have. So I don't have the Java here. Okay. Now this Java worksheet, I want to move. So how can I do that? Very, very interesting. So let's say WS, right, is my parent from the WKB1. It means this WS is my parent worksheet, and I am going to move into the WK1. All right. And here WKB1 dot add sheet, whatever the sheet I have WS. Simple. Now WKB1 dot save. Let me change the file name. Updated test1 dot xlsx. Easy. And when you copy the sheet, let me check the file name as well. Active.title. Okay, it is a test2. And what if when I'm going to print the sheet name? So this particular workbook should contain the sheet of Java. Look at this. Very interesting, right? So we have successfully, first of all, what I did, I have opened the whatever the workbook you want, you can open. Whatever the worksheet you want to copy, you can create an object and simple from the parent, and in this, whatever the workbook you want, you can define it and you can add here. Simple concept. And so, sometime, let's say I want to, change the title as well, right? Without using a looping concept and all. So WKB dot, you can define the worksheet. Okay, based on the index, let's say 2. What do you mean by the 2? So 0, 1, and 2. And here I am going to set the title, let's say Python, only Python, and WKB1 dot sheet names. So based on the index as well, you can rename the worksheet. So guys, you can see here we have applied lots of operations over the worksheet and workbook. Okay, so that's end of this tutorial. If you're facing any difficulty to use any concept in OpenPyXl, please let us know in the comment box. So for this session, do the practice as much as you can, and I will see you in the next session. Meanwhile, thanks for watching and have a great day.